Question number one, when I don't know the answer to something gun-related, I turn to you guys. That's sweet, thank you. But when either of you don't know the answer, who do you turn to? I guess if I had to pick my one phone a friend who wants to be a millionaire style, it would probably be Michiko. Now, if there is a specific subject, like, for example, optics, I'd probably call Hop. Suppressors, I'd call my boss Pete, or maybe Mike Pappas, or the guys at Silencer Shop. But I would think my one kind of most knowledgeable buddy is probably Michiko. If you're not familiar with Michiko, go check out his channel. Pretty impressive. This guy is totally fucking blind, but he knows more about guns than probably everyone watching this video and myself combined.
Hey guys, Hop here, TFB TV, January 2023 Q&A. January is a very special month here at TFB TV because we get to go to SHOT Show, and also James Reeves has a birthday, but more importantly, I have a birthday. So January is a very packed month for all of us. James narrowly survived his birthday. Mine's coming up. I'm sure I'll be fine because I'm made of sterner stuff than he is. Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey. And I have a higher alcohol tolerance. Anyway, question time. Question one, when I don't know the answer to something gun-related, I turn to you guys. But when either of you don't know the answer, who do you turn to? I guess I kind of crowdsource my information from two main sources. One is to use Google search and then include very specific terms in quotation marks to force Google to search for an actual string. Because the way that the internet works these days, of course, all you really get is shopping and AI-generated garbage. So SEO, search engine optimization, has gotten so good that the internet is essentially unusable, which is ironic. But yeah, this is not a Hop theory. This is an established theory, dead internet theory. Go look it up. It'll change your entire week at the very least. But yeah, so I am looking for like old school blogs, personal blogs, where people would write about their experiences with guns and stuff. The best one that I can name off the top of my head is one called High Powers and Handguns. A really accomplished handgun shooter and very dedicated shooter and handgun collector. Maintained that blog for a number of years, wrote a lot of extremely interesting stuff about a lot of very cool handguns. Unfortunately, he passed away, but it was a phenomenal source of information for the stuff that I'm into, which is, you know, predominantly old school handguns, right? And then if all else fails, what you do is you search whatever string that you're trying to learn about in Google, and then you add ar15.com at the end, because ARFCOM is just the repository of all firearms knowledge on the internet. It's got an odd culture of its own. All message boards, forums, whatever, they all have their own culture, you know, and ARFCOM definitely has its own board culture, but there's still a shitload of information on there. So yeah, if all else fails, turn to ARFCOM.
Question two, James, in Q&A episode 7, you stated you've had to draw your firearm in 2 different situations. Could you elaborate? So yeah, it's happened twice. I'm totally glad I was carrying a gun in both circumstances. I would have done nothing differently in either case. The first one, somebody parked in my front lawn, some drunk asshole on Pensacola Beach during Bushwhacker Fest, because it's really hard to find parking. So this guy just said, screw it, I'll park on this guy's lawn. I call a tow truck. The tow truck driver's pulling up, and I guess this guy sees his car is about to get towed. He's about this tall, and he's talking shit right in my face. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, his buddy, who I didn't realize was like walking up behind me, hits me in the face right here. You guys might be able to see the scar in some of the videos, but smashes me right there with a brick, busts me open. Carrying a Glock 19, pull it out, pop around into the ground. I know a lot of people say, oh man, you know, warning shots never fire a warning shot. When the big dog starts barking, people pay attention. So I crack a round off, it buys some time, the police show up. They of course arrest everybody, they're freaking out, you know, because gun. They talk to all the witnesses. One of the cops was like, dude, you could have just shot this guy square in the chest, we wouldn't have cared. That's not true. I definitely would have at least spent the night in jail. Here, they just questioned everybody. They had me sit in the back of a police car for about 20-30 minutes. They took my gun and my ammo. I got it all back the next day. So I didn't die. Most important takeaway, I didn't get my ass beat by these 2 or 3 guys. I didn't have to go to jail. I didn't have to kill anybody. So all in all, under the circumstances, I would say, I guess, successful. Second time was, I want to say May of last year, when I'm coming back, maybe the year before. I'm driving back from Pensacola to New Orleans. I stop on Gauze Boulevard in Slidell. I get some gas. And there's this guy, this, like homeless guy or hobo or whatever, and he's screaming at people in the parking lot. So, of course, I ignore him. I go inside to get my sugar-free Monster and gum and protein bar, and I tell the manager, I'm like, hey, you got some guy, he's like screaming at people going in and out of the store. I walk out. I make the mistake, which, you have to make, where I kind of turn left to where he was just to make sure that he's like over there and not right here. But I turn left, he sees me, we make eye contact, I'm like, oh shit. So I'm walking to my car, I've got a Jeep, so flat glass, I can see the guy coming up behind me, walking faster than I am. I'm like, shit. So as soon as I get to the car, to the gas pump, I'm carrying appendix, which I don't do often, but I was driving. So that was a SIG P365 that time, tell the guy, hey, like back the F up. He hides behind the gas pump. I get in the car, close the door, and then as soon as he hears my door close, he runs across the highway. I was kind of hoping he got run over, but it was the full, like he was accosting me, saying crazy shit, like why don't you go back to your country club or whatever. Maybe the shorts threw him off. Maybe they aggravated him because of how sexy they were. I don't know. Typical South Louisiana crackhead getting riled up for no reason at a gas station. I can see he's got something in his hand when he's walking up behind me. So produce my gun. He takes a hike. Nobody gets shot. Nobody goes to jail. So I guess a win. It's like Clint Smith says,
there are people who need to be shot.
If I'd killed those 2 guys, would the world have been a better place? In my opinion, absolutely. But I also would have paid for it. I would have been put through the process, possibly, definitely charged, I would say, with second-degree murder or manslaughter. In both cases, I would have had to pay a bail bondsman. That would have been 10 to 12% of the bond amount. I've seen them for $400,000 to $750,000 here in Louisiana. So that would be, 40 to 80 grand gone. Otherwise, I sit in jail until I can get the charges dismissed or until I go to trial, which would basically ruin my life. So that's one thing that I tell people to be cognizant of. U.S. Law Shield has me go around the state, Mississippi, Louisiana. I go to both states and I give lectures on use of force, when you should and shouldn't do it, because bear in mind, it is the rare occasion where you're going to shoot somebody and kill them and spend the night in your own bed. I've had 2 or 3 cases in the past year where ultimately these have been not guilty, but somebody's had to spring $70,000 for bond money that they're never going to see again, or they've had to spend months in jail, gotten fired from their jobs. I've seen people's lives get ruined. So I guess what I'm trying to impart to you right now is, if you're going to carry a gun, this is something you need to think about, and you should be extremely careful whenever you decide to employ it.
Question 2. Hop, between you and Ian McCollum of Forgotten Weapons, who would win in an esoteric gun trivia contest? Obviously, Ian would win because he reads actual books and is older than I am, and older people tend to have more information in their brains. Maybe I could surprise him with a cool factoid about one of the weird little niches of the hobby that I'm into. Like I could spring my autism about the AMT on duty in front of him, see if he recognizes that gun. I'm sure he does, because he also lived through that time, the 80s and 90s more than I did. So. Yeah, not even close, man.
What pistols are in your daily carry rotation? What ammo do you prefer for each? Well, ammo is easy. Federal HST, I think, dominates everything else. When you look at all the research, like I'm not telling you from my personal experience, just from extensive research I've done on the subject, if you look at Federal HST, almost anybody's ballistic testing, because everybody's a little different, but consistently, HST has the best combination of penetration and expansion for 9mm and 380. I carry 9mm 80% of the time, 380 if I'm going to the corner store to pick up beer, like maybe sometimes 38, 357. Now that's a different story. ammo and revolvers, totally different. I rarely carry those, so I won't get into it right now. And as far as carry guns go, I seriously have a box next to the bed that has 10 carry guns with the holsters that I like for them. I've got the P365, 365XL, 43, 43X, Glock 19, 48, the Smith & Wesson 340 PD, which is phenomenal, again, to just jam in your pocket, go to the corner store, and I've done a video with it before. I mean, I'm effective to 25 yards with 357 Magnum out of that thing, surprisingly, so it's actually a good choice in a pinch. For 380, the LCP Max is actually pretty tough to beat. 11 rounds and something that fits in your pocket. And if you want a little bit better terminal performance, I still love the Beretta 84BB, even though I don't carry that a whole heck of a lot. Glock 26 sometimes works its way into the rotation. It just depends what you're wearing, what you're doing. Of course, everybody says, like, if you know you're going to go to a gunfight, don't go. But as Clint says, for fighting, none of them are too big. For carrying, none of them are too small. So I just look at, like, my risk, the situation I'm going to. Am I going to be gone all day? Am I going to be in a dicey area? I'm going to carry something bigger. If it's warmer, I'm probably going to carry something smaller because I'm wearing less clothing, whatever. It's going to be harder to conceal. So there are a lot of different factors. Like, look, if I had to pick one, it'd probably be the Glock 43X or the SIG P365XL. Both are phenomenal. But, you know, these are tools, and you use different tools for different jobs. The most important thing, just have something that you're willing to carry. If you've got a gun where you're like, ah, shit, you know, your Glock 19, man, I'm wearing shorts today, like that's going to, I'm going to have my basketball shorts around my ankles if I walk down the street, so I'm not going to carry it. I'll leave it at home. That's really where you run into problems. So just get whatever it is that you're going to carry. I don't care if it's 22 or 32. You guys can see I've been in at least 2 situations where having a gun probably saved my ass. So the most important thing, just be willing to carry it.
Question 3 for both: what pistols/weapons are in your daily carry rotation, and what ammo do you prefer for each? Currently, I am carrying the Mossberg MC2C Optics Ready, loaded with Federal HST plus P 124 grain. That's my ammunition of choice. It's one of the best performing handgun loads, particularly from short barrels, and it also happens to be the load that you could buy in bulk from various websites. Back before Federal, Hornady, a bunch of those companies sort of cracked down on people reselling law enforcement ammunition. Law enforcement ammunition is the same as civilian market ammunition. It just comes in bigger boxes and costs about 1/5 as much. So you could buy 50-round boxes of Federal HST 124 grain for just like normal hollow point prices, and it was phenomenal. You weren't paying $250 a round, but Federal's like, hey, now we only want cops to have those prices. Same thing with Hornady. Same thing, I think, with with Spear, with like gold dots and stuff. They'll sell you 20-round boxes for an absurd upcharge, and then they'll sell the really... Ooh, that guy's having fun. All right, we got rain, we got motorcycles. This is turning out to be a really good one. So as far as the rotation goes, yeah, Mossberg MC2C Optics Ready, replacing the Taurus GX4 Toro and Glock 43 in my carry rotation. The Glock 43 is the one I always go back to because it's the smallest and it's the Glock, so I shoot it the best, and it has a weapon light on it, albeit just a TLR6. Prior to the Mossberg MC2C, I was really mostly just carrying the GX4 Toro, and I stopped carrying that because I put that optic, the optic that I had on there, which is a Holosun 407K with a 6 MOA dot, swapped that one onto the Mossberg MC2C to review. So now I've got the one Optics Ready gun. That's the one I'm carrying. Yep, I guess that'll do it. Thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with us on TFB TV. Subscribe to our Utreon. This is the only way that this stuff even works anymore, because YouTube's in one of its moods again. So, see you guys next time.